Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm Kim, and today we're going to explore last year's Hillside garden bed. This is where we put the boulders last year, and I want to kind of give you an update on how it's looking. Now, some of the sedum that we pressed into the cracks in the boulders is growing. Looks wonderful. That particular one is Sedum coral carpet with a little bit of Angelina there at the top. We've got some moss growing, and I'm just going to go ahead and stuff more of that into the cracks. It just takes a few little pieces like that, and if I just stuff them into the crack, they will start growing, because these particular sedum are very obliging. But let's take a look at the bed. I do have the heuchera still there, and my hellebore didn't do real well this year, but is healthy and alive, which digging it up in March, that's a miracle. I had a few blooms. That one's just barely fading. They were a real intense pink, but I do want to get me some more of those. But as you can see, I've got a lot of my sedum growing across the hillside here. It doesn't look very steep, but it is kind of steep when you walk on it. Makes me feel a little bit tippy. But we've got a lot of sedum that grows up in the cracks, and I really like that. Now, this is behind the wall, the retaining wall here, and I'll probably fill in just a little because I think it's kind of sunken, and then we've had a lot of car crashes and little car things here from my grandson, and I'll need to refill some of the parts that he's dug out, making tracks and trails. But he's just about to kind of outgrow that stuff, so I don't think I'll have to worry too much longer. But this is the coral carpet that you can see coming around the side of the retaining wall, and the Angelina, all bright yellow. A little bit of John Creech sedum, and then over here is more of the coral carpet sedum sexangulaire there, and more of the sedum sexangulaire. Those will have yellow flowers, and then the coral carpet has a big poofy white flower. But you can see how nice that looks. All of that has grown from just those few little pieces that I placed in there last spring. And you can see how it kind of climbs the wall. Got a lot of it right here along this boulder. It's kind of creeping along the edges of the boulder, and then on up the hillside. Those are our boulders that we placed. And then I've tried to put more of the clumps of sedum that are spilling out of the front. I have a lot of troughs in front, and there's coral carpet in them, and it just tumbles over the sides and starts to grow across the garden bed. And I have pulled those pieces off the ground and just brought them around here, so that I can let them spread through this bed. And you can see we still have the rocks over there underneath the big bush. I have kept those. I didn't try to move those. It was just a little more than I could handle, especially on that hill. But all the coral carpet is just kind of twisting around there. And then this bush, is, let me step back. The bush is a dwarf Korean lilac. It doesn't look very dwarf to me currently because it's probably, I don't know, I'd say at least 8 foot tall and 8 foot wide. But we've identified those blossoms and it is in bud and just about to burst into bloom right now. And again, as I said on the post, we've not been successful in getting grass to grow here, minimally successful, but we've certainly had enough weeds grow in here. But we'll not worry about that because we are planning to have some work done on the deck, and they'll have to use this side or the other as access. And this side is where the driveway is. So we don't know if they'll choose this side to access down around the house. But this is what the dwarf Korean lilac looks like. The buds have not quite burst into bloom, but I think it's gorgeous. It was gorgeous last spring, and it's even bigger. And just goes around and hugs the side of the house over there. So I've yet to figure out what I want to do with this upper portion. Up there is our viburnum. I think that was Viburnum lantana mohican, and it's in bloom at this time, a pretty white bloom. So this blooms just about the same time as this Korean lilac. But that's how my Boulder garden, Hillside Boulder garden, is looking this year. And I'm well pleased with it. I think I'd be even more pleased if we could decide on what we're going to do and go ahead and get this sodded in. Because the lawn is in real decent shape. I just need to have that also in decent shape. Let me see if I can walk down. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of shadow behind me. Let me try to get out of that. There is a boxwood there. Nice round boxwood. Might need just a minor trim up. I could probably dig out that stone and put him up there with the rest. But I'm well pleased with the rock garden. And at this point in time, I've only put the one hypertufa over here. I've got him just at the base. He's full of Sedum sexangulaire. But I think I could possibly place a lot up through there and try and dig out some spots to make it a little bit flat and accessible so that I can still get in there and weed them. But I think things are looking really good. These are getting way big. I may have to do a little trimming on those, but it looks really good. But looks nice. And this has become the little roads that my grandson uses when he wants to run his little cars, which isn't too often anymore. Kind of miss that, but he's got to grow up. But thanks for joining me today. Right now we're at the end of April, and that's the timeline that everything is blooming for me here. So just stay tuned and see what we decide to do with that deck there. Not sure what's going to happen but I'll be sure and film it and let you know.